Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Shout out to everybody coming through. Let me make sure you guys can hear me. Drop a one in the chat if you guys can hear me. I was moving some things around, so things kind of went everywhere. Excuse me. And then I ran, I got me some water, and I was like, I'm definitely going to need some coffee. I haven't even had my first drink. Welcome. Thank you. Happy Monday. Happy Labor. No, Memorial Day. I'm sorry. Why am I thinking it's Labor Day? Oh my God. I'm so sorry, y'all. My mind is like somewhere else. It's not even here. Sorry about that. Everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody hit that like button. I apologize. I swear, I am literally like, it's Memorial Day. Okay. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. I am live. Thank you. I'm getting my days mixed up. See, that's what happens when you're like reading so much. You don't even know what day it is. I do apologize. So shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. What are you guys doing today? Hopefully you guys are celebrating. Shout out to those wonderful, beautiful veterans of ours. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just feel lost. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I was editing last night and I'm a little paranoid. I'm gonna tell you why. Especially when it comes to talking about Diddy, especially because we already got like a community warning. And so I went back twice to my video, which will premiere today, by the way, hopefully by this afternoon. I went back twice to my video just to make sure that I censored words like election, master, numeration. What was some? But there's a lot of words. Astro, certain words that I just had to like something about big D. Yes, these kinds of words I had to censor. And this is part two. So yes, that's why I'm exhausted. But you know what? That's okay. We are just working hard. I want to make sure. I feel like I feel pretty good, guys. We have gotten through a lot of videos. I still have to finish the one that we were live yesterday and we were talking about Dr. Don Hughes. So that's only maybe about another 45 pages of a video that I have to do. But today I wanted to talk about Mylah Morales, which should be kind of easier for us because it's not very long. So that's kind of off my checklist. But I still have like 5 more to go. So I'm going to do my best to read as I can. I ask you guys for your patience. I ask you guys for your. I'm a one-person show. I'm a one-person show. Okay. The only Anji, thank you for becoming a member. I feel like you were already a member. Shout out to you, my love. Thank you. I'm working. I work Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays only. But they are 11-hour days, so sometimes it can be rough. I'm sorry. You know that you probably enjoy that when you get that day off. Hardwood facilities manager. Are you a facility manager? Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your work. My work has been having a censor guy proposal for federal grants. Can't even say woman, homosexual. I can't. I can't. It's been getting pretty bad, and I thought we weren't supposed to be as censored, but hey, whatever. Yeah, that's the issue. That is the issue. All right, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button while those notifications go out. Shouldn't be too much of a heavy read day today. So we're definitely going to take it a little bit easier. But you definitely don't want to miss our video later. And let me let the people know that we are live while we're here. I didn't even play our intro, but that's okay. I kind of want to get to the point. I'm just letting people arrive. We live now. Okay, so let me give you guys a little bit of like a scoop of who Mylah Morales is. Mylah Morales is a makeup artist. Now, when I first heard her name, I heard her name through CNN, through a bunch of other outlets. The lady was doing a bunch of interviews right after Diddy's arrest. Okay, which her interviews like were kind of like she was Cassie's makeup artist, and she had seen some things, and like she was just going on a tour. She went on Pierce Morgan, CBS, CNN, a bunch of other outlets, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, So you saw all of this go down with Cassie. You took her to a doctor friend after she got beat. She that didn't get reported. I had a lot of questions, and so when I heard that she was testifying, then she testified on Thursday, May 22nd. We're going to review her testimony. I have not reviewed it. Some of the stuff when I go live on it, I haven't even reviewed beforehand. So it kind of you guys are getting my real raw reaction as we speak. But I already had a like what's the word? Hold up, let me clean this camera right here. I already had a side eye on her, if you know what I mean. Now, I know, like, I was thinking about this. I've seen a lot of documentaries and I've talked to a lot of hairstylists. My mom was a hairstylist, actually. Shout out to my mom. Um, Sometimes hairstylists, people that do makeup, hairstylists, will capture, certain DV situations. So, like, if you're doing somebody's hair, they might have a bruise or a marking or something, and I have known of situations that happen like that, where like especially a makeup artist, they're having to cover up. A lot of these Hollywood artists, makeup artists, people, photographers, these people know a lot about what's going on in the industry in terms of the effects on the person and their body. If you know what I mean, you could definitely see it. But for this specific person, I know that like people will say, well, what are you supposed to do? She was worried about Diddy. She's trying to keep her job because after she worked with Diddy, Cassie, she went to work for Rihanna. She went to work for other artists. So that's the thing. It's like you never really I don't know, man. You just never really know what to make of this. Let me ask you guys a question in the chat, okay? If you are a makeup artist or an artist or whatever, right, and you're working with somebody who's in a DV situation, you don't know anything about the trafficking, you just know about the DV, right? What would you guys do? Would you keep quiet? Have you ever had to just keep quiet? I know in my culture, we kind of like, we're told to mind our business, you know? Um, what do you guys think? Where do you guys stand with that? Think about it. Just reflect a little on that. And I know it's a heavy reflection because I'm sure people have been in situations like that where you've experienced something similar. You know? What do you guys think? Yeah, Dazzler, that's a good one. It's like the problem with Cassie specifically seems to have been police arrive. Cassie doesn't want to report anything, so it's hard to judge. That's right. Thank you, Hardwood. Yes, we do need some more likes, y'all. Yeah, so let's get started because we definitely have it's not so much of a heavy read because she wasn't on the stand for too long, but we have her down. Yeah, let me get my legal pad. If you know, you know. And Dollar Tree, I love the Dollar Tree. I am a Dollar Tree girl. I really am. When there's good finds and stuff like that. Dollar Tree, I'm gonna need you to bring these back right here. These little notebooks right here because they are amazing. I love it. Dollar Tree, bring it. This is my chicken scratch. I showed it to you guys. Look, it says legal. You know it's official when it says legal. Okay. Okay. So Mylah Morales testifies on May 22nd, 2025. She starts at page 166. So 166, on page 166, we have issues with evidence. Let me pull that up right now. Oh, and by the way, speaking of Hughes, okay, this is May 22nd. Here it is. Speaking of having to buy stuff. So I got a new mouse, y'all, and I love it. I told you guys that I was having a hard time with my mouse, especially with all this editing. Like the mouse will strain my hand. So I got a new mouse and I'm so excited. Yesterday I even noticed a difference. Let me put this up here. Is this it? Yep. I got to show it to you guys. This new mouse right here. You'll see that? Look at this. Hold up. I got to show off. Look. Look at this. Oh my god, it's amazing, man. Y'all don't even know how much because my hand was straining when I was editing and I have to edit for many hours. And like I said, I'm a one-person show. So, okay. Let's get started. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. So Thursday, May 22nd, we have some, I guess, exhibit issues, evidence issues. The attorneys are gathered together and they're talking about their next witness, which would be Mylah Morales, the makeup artist. And they're going to show some they want to show some pictures, and they talked about how Cassie is being objectified by these pictures, but this is some of the artistry. So let's get right into the after the lunch break. Let's get right into that, because this is when the court and the attorneys go at it. So this is Miss Comey for the government. We've narrowed down the issues for today to subsets of these 146 photos to about a dozen that the next witness, Miss Morales, recognizes photos for which she did makeup. I think the authenticity will be fine, and she can testify that she recognized the photos as photos for someone for whom she did makeup. The remaining issue is a 403 issue and a couple of 412 ones. In some of these photographs, Miss Ventura is constantly clad or topless or wearing only underwear on the bottom, or wearing a very low cut dress and a very high cut dress. My concerns with all of this is that even if the defense counsel is not planning to make an argument based on sexual stereotypes, putting in images of Miss Ventura partially dressed or scantily dressed risks a stereotype in the minds of jurors that if she dressed like this in this photo shoot, she dressed like this in public. Then it makes it more likely that she consented to the S activity that's at issue here. This is what the government was feeling about these photos, okay? Now, I do not object to the defense cropping the photos to show Miss Ventura's face or parts of her body that are clothed and introducing them to the jury. My objection is to the portions where she is topless or only wearing underwear or is very scantily clad. I don't think that it's probative. I don't think that what she is wearing is probative, and I don't think it's unfairly prejudicial. And it raises concerns of stereotypes that are inappropriate in this trial. The court speaks. Now, I have 3 exhibits in front of me. This is what the court is saying. I got 3 exhibits in front of me, Your Honor. So, Mrs. Stevio for the defense speaks. Just to back up a little bit, we provided the government with a number of photos yesterday, and the relevance of these are to rebut the government's claims that to rebut the government's claims that was suggested that Miss Ventura's testimony that she spent all the time either participating in S activities or recovering from it, and that her career was stifled as a result. And also Miss Morgan's testimony, and that would be Carrie Morgan's testimony, okay? Cassandra Ventura's friend, who is another video we will be working on. Testimony about Miss Ventura over the years and losing her confidence. There are a series of photos of many that exist because Miss Ventura was in the public sphere and a public figure of her participating in the red carpet events and other events and photo shoots. It also goes a lot of the government's argument about keeping up her appearance specifically for S activities. The court speaks. I've heard from Ms. Comey that there are about a dozen of these exhibits that are under dispute, right? Am I right? Mrs. Stavio for the defense speaks. There are approximately a dozen that we will elicit. We will potentially elicit with Ms. Morales, because she was the one who did the makeup for those particular events. And out of the dozens, we've narrowed, I believe, the government's objection to 5. And Your Honor has 3 photos right now. And we're working on other 2, which we may reach a resolution on. So let me put a little sidebar here, because you're going to hear me talk about this on my other video that I'm going to upload on Cassie Ventura. You know how many victims they have material on? Put a number. We have a lot of victims. As far, I think, how many victims did they say? Did they say 5, or I think it's 5 or 6? They said that they have this many victims, right? Do you know how much material we have, or how many of those numbers we actually have material on? It's only Cassie and a Jane Doe, just 2. The reason I know this is because on the day that Cassie testified, the news reporters, the lawyers for the CBS, NBC News came and basically was trying to talk to the judge and say, like, listen, you guys are censoring this material, and the material is very explicit. Apparently, it's material of Cassie being essayed or, the participation of these acts, right? The CBS, the PBS, I don't know if PBS is with the shits. Maybe they are. I'm not really sure. But CBS, NBC, all these people right here, right? They wanted a pool of journalists. In addition to the jury already seeing this material, they wanted a pool of journalists to watch these videos and basically report back to the public, because this is about the First Amendment. Okay. So the only two people that are depicted in any of this material is Cassie and a Jane Doe. And that's it. That's all. So I thought that was interesting to point that out. There is no celebrities. There is no celebrity essay tapes. There is no Justin Bieber essay tapes. There is no who else? There are no other tapes. There are no other tapes, y'all. Now, could Diddy have settled before all of the ish went down and before the raids? Possibly. No children. No children. So keep in mind when it comes, this is civil. A lot of the civil cases outline that, okay? But as far as the criminal stuff, I'm not hearing children and I'm not hearing other celebrities besides Cassie. No tapes about that other than Cassie and another Jane Doe. Maybe Dazzler could very well be the case, but as far as we know, that they have no children and no other celebrities. How do you like them apples? I mean, I just think it's interesting when this news hit, because I know I was one of them speculating speculation. That's how bad it was. But okay, let's get back. Okay. Give me one sec. Okay, Your Honor, here it is. Where did I leave off at? So they were talking about the material and having she said the defense says we've narrowed I believe the government's objections to 5, and Your Honor has 3 photos right now, and we're working on the other 2, which we reached a resolution on. Ms. Comey speaks. Your Honor, I can put on the record the ones we object to. There are defense exhibits 641, defense exhibits 652, 739, 744, 745, 746. And with all respects to those, the objection is base stereotypes that I articulated, with the exception of 641. My objection is not based on the concern about stereotypes for that one. It's just a picture of her head, but it is a picture in which she's holding what appears to be a gun. Ooh, a gun, to her mouth, and that just feels entirely prejudicial. It seems to imply that in some way she would possess guns, pew-pews, was the kind of person who would hold pew-pews. Okay. Let me highlight this. This is important. This is from the government. Okay. The court speaks. I don't think you have to show a lot of unfair prejudice because the probative value is nil. So 641 is out. I mean, you can ask questions about this album or anything about it, but I don't see why the image of a cover has anything to do with this case. So 641 is out. I only have 652 and 739. 652 appears to be an album cover. Okay. Now hold on. Which one was the one with the pew-pew? 641 is the one that the judge said 641 is out. So the one with Cassie with the pew-pew is out. Okay, they took it out. I mean, you can just ask questions about it. It appears to be out of an album cover. So 641 is out. I only have 652 and 739. 652 appears out of an album cover. Government response. I think so, Your Honor. Okay, defense. We're also bringing up these on the screen. 652, please. Your Honor. Give me one sec. Your Honor, this also another album cover. And also, just to back up, in terms of the past 24 in conferrals with Ms. Comey, she raised issues with respects to many exhibits that we agreed to withdraw based on Ms. Ventura's clothing in those photographs. We agree with Ms. Comey that those suggestions are not the ones that we're trying to convey with these photos. It's about her career opportunities and of the like. So many, just to let you know, Your Honor, we agreed to withdraw many photos, even though we would have a great argument that this was the way that Miss Ventura dressed at the time, and it was a style at the time, and it's not meant to convey anything other than her fool. Okay, the court interrupts. What are the relevance of these exhibits? That's what I'm trying to understand. If you're trying to elicit from the witness that she did makeup for Miss Ventura for various events, in your view, there are a lot of them, which goes to show that during the time period in question, she had a vibrant and eventful life. Great. What's the purpose of these exhibits? I'm not understanding what the pictures have to do with anything. So it's just 402 issue, really. It's like, what's the relevance of this? And then we can get to 403. Is there any kind of relevance that I'm missing? The defense speaks. The fact that Ms. Morales was providing makeup for these photographs and photo shoots, and they were then used for the purposes of Ms. Ventura's album, all supports the argument that she had a full and blossoming career. That being said, we were using this opportunity and the extra time because of the absence of the witnesses this afternoon to introduce a number of these photographs. If it makes more sense, we can do it through a separate witness who knows more about Ms. Ventura's musical career. The court speaks. We have an objection to putting these into evidence. Is there an objection to the extent it's necessary to using these images as demonstrative, meaning to the extent that it just helps the examination to say you did makeup on the Love a Loser album, right? And let's show the jury what you did. Great work. Ms. Comey speaks. Your Honor, I would object to showing topless photographs of one of our victims to the juries strongly. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. The court speaks. Well, it's not topless. The government speaks. Your Honor, in this photograph, she's not wearing a shirt. The court speaks. Is this the one with the folded hands? Okay. So, government speaks. It's 6:52. She's not wearing a shirt, Your Honor. The court speaks. All right, look. Comey then speaks. I don't see the relevance. Court speaks. Relevance is not established. Miss Estavio for the defense. By the fact that you're filling time. So the fact that we have here, time here is not a reason for these exhibits to be admitted. And I'm still not understanding what the probative value of any of this is. The government speaks. We would be willing to enter a stipulation that Miss Ventura, in fact, recorded a song called Love a Loser, if that's what the defense wants to prove. The court speaks. She can talk about it. And I assume the witness is going to say, I did makeup and style for that album cover. Government speaks. I would assume so. Yes, Your Honor. Court speaks. Let me hear from Ms. Estavio. Ms. Estavio for the defense. Your Honor, Ms. Ventura testified about her career being impacted and her having an album, Love a Loser, that was released, and there's a photo associated with it to help corroborate that is certainly relevant. Comey for the government speaks. Your Honor, they don't need corroboration for a fact. I'll stipulate to. Defense speaks. Your Honor, we're entitled to put in evidence to support the case. The court speaks. But the image is not probative of anything. The image is just a depiction of something that you can elicit through testimony. An objection has been raised on 403 grounds that I have to evaluate. Now, I don't know that there's that much, if any, prejudice from putting any of these in. I certainly don't see any prejudice from Exhibit 739, which appears to be an image from a public event. So I don't know what the prejudice would be. Ms. Comey speaks. Your Honor, it's the same concern I've raised. It is a low-cut dress. The court speaks. That's overruled as 739, which the only other one I have in front of me is 652. Ms. Estavio for the defense, can you please pull exhibits 744, 745, and 746? If you can put them next to each other. The court speaks. I'll sustain the objection as to 652. So now we have 744. The objection is overruled as to 744. Next, the objection is overruled as to 745. Anything else? Estavio speaks. 746. The court speaks. Objection is sustained as to 746. Anything further? Ms. Comey speaks. I just wanted to correct one thing that I said, Your Honor. Right before the lunch break, when I was referencing that the testimony didn't come in the way that I expected, I had been meaning to correct what I said, not to concede that we don't think that the text message is admissible. My colleagues tell me that I may have been unclear, and I wanted to make clear that the witness testimony was that this incident involving Gina and the apples happened earlier, and I thought that's what they were going to say. Okay, and they're speaking about Kaplan, George Kaplan, who was giving testimony about Gina and the apples. All right, if you have not watched that video, make sure you watch it. Okay, I'm gonna go right. So they clarified this. I'm gonna go right into. Let's go right into Morales. Mylah Morales comes in. She is sworn. Now let me take a little drink of water. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, please, and thank you. Happy Memorial Day, guys. We are working. We've been working all weekend, actually. All weekend. Hit the like button. Consider supporting the channel. I'd appreciate it. Anything that you guys could do would be amazing. But of course, more than anything, hit the like button. All right. Let's get it together. Okay, let me Kelly, thank you so much for becoming a member. Shout out to you, Kelly. All right, guys, I'm not going to pay attention to the chat. You guys know when we get to reading, I don't really look at the chat. So I'll shout out after I'm done reading, okay? Or at least have a little break. Okay. Mylah Morales is called as a witness by the government. Okay, she has testified. She spells out her name, and we are in direct examination. And she is directly being interviewed by Ms. Comey, who is for the government. Good afternoon. Hello. What do you do for work? I'm a celebrity makeup artist. Could you, speaking in a slow voice so that the court reporter can pick up what you're saying, please explain to the jury what a celebrity makeup artist is? We work with A-list celebrities for their photo shoots, videos, red carpet appearances, editorials, and just about everything. Would you please take a look around the courtroom today and tell us if you see anyone for whom you have worked as a celebrity makeup artist? Yes. Who do you see? Sean Combs. Would you please identify him by an article of clothing that he is wearing? The gray sweater with a white collar. Okay. Would the record please reflect that the witness has identified the defendant? Do you know Mr. Combs by any other names? Puff Daddy, Puffy, P Diddy, Love? By what name did you usually call him? Puff. Approximately when did you work for Mr. Combs? 2000 to 2005. What kind of work did you do for Mr. Combs during that time? Men's grooming, light makeup. What's men's grooming? It's a very light makeup for the camera. Why did you stop working for Mr. Combs? I went on to other clients. After you stopped working for Mr. Combs, who's the next artist that you worked with? Rihanna and many others. For how long did you work with Rihanna? 13 years. During the time you were working with Rihanna, what other artists, if any, did you provide makeup to? Cassie Ventura, Jennifer Lopez? Are there others that you're not remembering right now? Yeah, there's so many. It's like a long list of names. Miss Comey asked Miss Foster to pull up exhibits. Do you see the pictures on the screen in front of you? Yes. Do you recognize the person in that photograph? Yes. Who is that? Cassie Ventura. About when did you first meet Cassie Ventura? I met Cassie when she was 16 years old. And how did you meet her when she was 16 years old? On a photo shoot in Brooklyn for an editorial. About when did you start more regularly doing makeup for Cassie? 2007, I believe. And how did you end up doing makeup for Cassie starting in around 2007? She was signed to Bad Boy, and that's when I started working with her. And what is Bad Boy? It's a record label. Whose record label? Sean Combs? About when was the last time that you did makeup for Cassie? 2021 during COVID. Miss Comey asked Miss Foster to take exhibits down. Okay. Over the year that you worked with Cassie, what was your relationship like with her? Well, we were close. She was like a little sister to me. How much older than Cassie are you? A few years older. Over the years between 2007 and 2018, how often did you see Cassie in person? A few times a year. At some point, did you learn that Cassie was dating Mr. Combs? Yes, I did. And do you remember about when you learned that? 2007 or 8? I'm not sure of the exact dates. Focusing on the period between approximately 2007 and 2018. For what type of event did you do makeup for Cassie during that time period? I did makeup for Cassie for photo shoots, music videos, editorials. What's an editorial? An editorial is a fashion magazine. So, fashion magazine photo shoot? Yes. Where did you usually do Cassie's makeup for those types of events? Those types of events, I did Cassie's makeup at the studio, in a trailer, at her home, on location, really. What does a location mean? It's where shooting the photo shoot or music video. So that's where the trailer is. When you did Cassie's makeup during that same period, 2007, um, 2007 to 2018, what, if any, role did Mr. Combs have in deciding how Cassie should look? Well, Sean always made sure that, the look was perfect. So we had to like report back to him, with pictures. And pictures of what? Pictures, on a phone. Pictures of who? Of Cassie. Sorry. Other than when you were doing Cassie's makeup, how often did you see or interact with Mr. Combs between 2007 to 2018? Very few. How many times, if ever, have you seen Cassie with injuries on her face? Just once. I want to talk about the one time, please. Okay. What year was this? That was in 2010. What, if any, award events were going around this time? The Grammy week. What, if any, parties were going on the Grammy weekend in 2010? The Prince party? What is a Prince party? The artist named Prince. It was a party at his home, I believe. Now, what time of the day do you remember seeing injuries on Cassie's face over the Grammy weekend in 2010? Late at night, early in the morning? What do you remember doing earlier that same day? Well, earlier that day, we did a photo shoot and then went out to dinner. After that, we went back to Cassie's hotel. When you say we, who are you talking about? Cassie and I. Just the two of you? Yes. You said you went back to the hotel. Did I hear that right? Yes. What hotel do you, if you remember? The Beverly Hills Hotel? What type of room did you and Cassie go back to at the Beverly Hills Hotel? A one-bedroom suite. What did you end up doing in that suite? I fell asleep. Where did you fall asleep? I fell asleep on the couch. In the living room area? In the living room area, yes. How did you come to wake up after falling asleep on the couch? Well, I'm a light sleeper, so I woke up to a little bit of a commotion. So, what's the first thing you noticed when you woke up? Cassie walked into a hotel room. Yes. And then where did you see her go? Into the bedroom. What happened after Cassie came into the room? Sean came in immediately after and asked where she was. What was his tone of voice? Angry. Do you remember what he said? Where the F is she? How did you respond? I don't know. And then what did you see Mr. Combs do next? Walk into the room? And by the room, what do you mean? The bedroom. And so at that point, who was in the bedroom? Cassie and Sean? And what did Mr. Combs do after he went into the bedroom after Cassie? Well, the door shut. Objection. Mrs. Stavio objects. Withdrawn based on the answer. Okay. Say that again. I didn't hear the answer. Comey continues with the questioning. The door shut. The door was shut. The court says, hold on. There was an objection. the witnesses answer, let's get a few new questions. Okay. Give me one sec. Let me take a little drink. Okay. After Mr. Combs asked where Cassie was, where did you see him go? In the bathroom. Excuse me, in the bedroom. And then what happened to the door of the bedroom? The door was shut. Once the door was shut, what do you remember hearing behind the bedroom door? Yelling and screaming? What did you do at that point? I was just frantic and I didn't know what to do. Do you remember how long there was yelling and screaming going on in the bedroom? I don't recall. What do you remember happening next? He opens the door and he storms out of the hotel room. Who's the he? Sean Combs. And you said you heard yelling and screaming going on in the bedroom? Whose voices did you hear? The both of them. Could you describe Mr. Combs' tone of voice? I don't remember. Do you remember Cassie's tone of voice? No, I don't. When Mr. Combs came out of the bedroom, did you see any visible injuries on him? No. Do you remember, as you sit here today, one way or the other, whether he said anything to you when he came out of the bedroom? I don't remember. After he came out of the bedroom, where did you go? Excuse me. After he came out of the bedroom, where did he go? Out the door? So he left the hotel room? He left the hotel room. What did you remember seeing next? Cassie. And when you saw Cassie, what did you observe about her appearance? She had a swollen eye, a busted lip, and knots on her head. What was her demeanor? Distraught? Upset? What did you do after seeing these injuries on Cassie? Well, in a hurry, I just, packed her things up immediately. We wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. And then where did you and Cassie go? I took her to my house. How far was your house, approximately? About a mile. How long did Cassie stay with you at your house? A few days. What if any medical attention did you get for Cassie? My friend who's a doctor, a medical doctor, I asked her to come to the next day to just, make sure that she doesn't have a concussion or anything. And what did the friend who's a medical doctor come to your house? Excuse me, hold up. And did that friend who's a medical doctor come to your house? She did. Were you present when your doctor friend came over? Yes, I was. And did you see her examine Cassie? Yes, I did. What injuries did you see on Cassie during that examination? A black eye, the same with the lip and knots on her head. What other parts of Cassie's body did your doctor friend check, if you remember? She checked her stomach area and her ribs. What did your doctor friend suggest that you and Cassie should do after she examined Cassie? She suggested that we go to the ER. Did you take Cassie to the ER? It was her wishes not to go to the ER. Why didn't you insist on taking Cassie to the ER? We were also very afraid. I want to focus on you. Okay. What were you afraid of? Afraid of Sean. What were you afraid of Sean doing? Objection. Court says it's overruled. You can answer that. Well, of course, I feared for my life because if he could do that to her. Objection. Next question, says the court. Did you call the police after seeing this? No, we did not call the police. You specifically. I didn't call the police. Why didn't you call the police? Like I said, I feared for my life. Objection. Move to strike. Ms. Comey, Your Honor, Ms. Comey speaks. Your Honor, I think we discussed this. The court says it's overruled. Questioning continues. About how long did Cassie stay at your house? A few days. And when she left, did she say anything to you? No, she didn't. after she left your house. About how often did you see or speak with Cassie? I spoke to Cassie a few times a year. And when you spoke with Cassie a few times a year, did you or Cassie ever acknowledge what happened over Grammy weekend? No, we didn't. After the Grammys weekend in 2010, about how often did you see Mr. Combs? Whenever I would see Cassie, did you or Mr. Combs have ever acknowledged what happened over Grammy weekend? Not at all. Now, Ms. Morales, taking a step back, you have spoken with journalists about what you witnessed during the Grammy weekend in 2010. Yes, I have. About how many interviews have you given to journalists about what you witnessed? A couple. Were you paid for participating in any of those interviews? No, I wasn't. Did you provide any of those journalists with any documents or other materials? I did. What did you provide? Just photos of myself and Kim Porter from earlier. And who's Kim Porter? Kim Porter is the mother of Sean's children. And from what and from when were those photographs taken? Very early in the early 2000s. And how many journalists or media companies did you provide those photographs to? Just one. And were you paid for the rights to those photographs? Yes. How much? About 1,000. Since learning that you were going to be called as a witness at this trial, have you participated in any interviews with journalists or media companies? No, I haven't. Okay, Ms. Comey says no further questions. Court then moves on to the cross examination. Okay, Mrs. Stavio for the defense is going to cross examine Mylah Morales. Let me stop right here. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, please, and thank you, thank you. For those that don't know, members, channel members, we have a new emoji called objection. Can we drop it in the chat? Drop it in the chat if you see it. Let me know. Hit the like button, please, and thank you. Support the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are working on this holiday, this beautiful holiday. Welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody. Ronan, happy birthday, of course. But let me know. The chat is frozen. I hope if it's working. Oh, you guys see it? Thank you. Jen was the one who suggested that emoji. So we got that emoji. That is the objection emoji for our beautiful, wonderful audience. Y'all love it? All right. You like it? Yeah. Yes, Cheeks, you're right. They're for the ants. They're so small. Make sure you guys use the objection emoji when you object, because I figured I have a gavel. Y'all can have a gavel. You love it? Thank you. Thank you, Didi. I thought that was cute. We need a sidebar emoji. Oh, that's a good one, Gaslit. It is too small. It is, but they're supposed to be small, y'all. Good morning, Jessica Chappies. How are you? I haven't seen you in a minute. Okay, let's get it together, guys. We got to get back to the reading, okay? All right, I love it. I love the objection emojis. Here we go. Okay, cross-examination starts by Miss Estavio for the defense. Good afternoon, Miss Morales. My name is Ana Estavio. I think it's Estavio or Estavio. Estavio. Estevai. Oh, Estevayo. I keep saying her name wrong. My name is Ana Estevayo. I represent Sean Combs. Good afternoon. So you testified that you met Miss Ventura many years ago she was 16 years old, you said, right? 2004, 2005, yes. And you started doing makeup more frequently around 2007? Just around that time, yes. You knew Miss Ventura before she even met Sean Combs, Mr. Combs, right? Yes, I met her, yes. And back when she was seeing someone else, right? Yes. And you notice, hold up. And you introduced her to someone else, right? Yes, I did. Who is that you introduced her to? Ryan Leslie. Who is Ryan Leslie? Ryan Leslie is a producer and a musical artist. Was he prominent in the music entertainment industry around that time? Yes, he was. Miss Ventura was also a popular recording artist, right? Yes, she was. And she had an album out at that time, right? Yes. And that album was pretty popular, right? Yes, it was. Do you know what else she was doing professionally around that time? Modeling. And what kind of modeling was she doing? Editorials. Meaning that you said before about magazine shoots. Magazine shoots, yes. And sort of high fashion, yes. And you did Miss Ventura's makeup for a number of years, right? Yes, I have. So during that time, can you tell us about some of the times when you assisted her with their makeup in connection with, let's start with, you gave her a list. Photo shoots, for example. You can talk about those photo shoots. Yes. Do any in particular come to mind? Yes, I worked with her with like Blank magazine, Vibe magazine, and it's all that I can remember for now. I don't remember the others. And she was photographed in connection with the magazine, her photographs so that she could be featured on the magazine. Exactly. And you also said red carpet events. Did you assist Miss Ventura for red carpet events? Possibly. Do you recall any in particular? No, I can't. What about videos? Can you talk about videos? Yes. Which videos did you assist Miss Ventura with? I don't remember the name of the videos, but there is one particular video that I do remember. It was a black and yellow with Wiz Khalifa, and I don't remember the other videos. I think we have a few photos to help remind you. Okay. Uh Miss the defense asked for exhibits to be published. Do you recognize this photo? This is the video. Move to admit. Government does not object for evidence to be admitted. The court admits 647 exhibits. Defense continues with the questioning. Please publish for the jury. So this is a photo from the music video, right? Yes. Who is that next to Miss Ventura? This is Wiz Khalifa. Can we show the witness defense exhibit 648? Do you recognize this photo? That is from the same photo shoot. I mean, same video shoot. Sorry. Okay. Move to admit. Government does not object. 648 will be admitted, says the court. Please publish from the defense. You did Miss Ventura's makeup for this shoot, right? This is the video. Excuse me? For the video, yes. And also for the photo shoots and videos. Would Miss Ventura also get her hair done? Yes. And her entire look would be like, okay, the court interjects and basically says, just to help you out, just wait until the question is over. Take a second and then answer. It will help for the record. Okay. So the judge is directing the witness to just listen to the question. Defense speaks. It was my fault too. Okay. They're going very fast, clearly. Okay. And she would also have her hair, and she would also have her nails and her hair done, right? Yes. Can we go to 655, please, just for the witness? Do you recognize this photo? That was from the same video shoot. That was from the same video shoot. Defense speaks. Move to admit. 655 will be admitted. Okay. Please publish, says the defense. Who is with Miss Ventura in this photo, if you know? It's Wiz Khalifa. I don't know who the one in the middle is. Can we show the witness defense exhibit 656, please, and 657 to be more efficient? Do you recognize these photos? Yes, it's from the same video shoot. Move to object. No objection from the government. These exhibits will be admitted. You assisted Miss Ventura in connection with this whole video shoot. Yes. And let's turn to a different event. Can we pull defense exhibit 623 for the witness? Please. Do you recognize this photo? Yes. But I don't remember what this is from. But you believe that you did the makeup. I think so, yes. Move to admit. No objection from the government. 623 is admitted. Mrs. Stavio speaks. Hold up. The court speaks to the defense. Mrs. Stavio, how many more of these do you have, do you think? Defense speaks. Not many. The court responds. Good. Okay. Questioning continues. This is an example of an editorial shoot. Yes, it is. In connection with all of these events, it was important for Miss Ventura. It was important that Miss Ventura appeared put together, right? Yes. Her look was very important to her, right? Yes. I'm almost done. Can we pull exhibit defense 743, please? Do you recognize this photo? Yes. It's from a blank magazine photo shoot. Move to admit. Government doesn't object. 743 will be admitted. Please publish, says the defense. Is this another example of an editorial shoot? Yes, it is. Sorry. Thank you. Can we pull up for the witness defense exhibit 739, please? Do you recognize this photo? Yes. Who appears in this photo? Rihanna, Ryan Leslie, and Cassie. Move to admit. 739 will be admitted. Okay, that's from the court. Okay, so for this photo, whose makeup did you do? Rihanna. You didn't do Miss Ventura's for this one? No. And this is the same Ryan Leslie that we're speaking about before. Yes, it is. Okay, defense request for more exhibits to be pull up. Do you remember witness speaks? This is from the same photo shoot. You recognize these photos from this photo shoot? Yes, it is. Move to admit. No objection from the government. More exhibits are published. These photos reflect your artistry, right? Yes. In fact, you recently reposted these on Instagram, right? Yes. And in connection with text about her bold look, right? Yes. Thank you. We don't need to rehash your testimony about the hotel room. Objection. Ms. Comey objects. Objection to the commentary, Your Honor. Questioning continues. You testified about the incident at the hotel suite over Grammy's weekend. Do you recall that? Yes, I do. You were in the suite outside of the bedroom, right? Yes. And you testify you didn't actually see what happened inside the bedroom. No, I did not. And you were staying in the hotel room that evening, even though you lived only a mile away, right? Yes. Because you were quite close with her, right? Yes. I think you said that she was like a little sister to you. Yes, she's correct. Yes, she is correct. Yes. And you known her for a number of years, over 2 decades. And it made sense to you to sleep over in the hotel room because you had spent the evening together, right? Yes. And you were close friends, correct? Yes. In fact, you had met her family at that point, right? I met her father when I first met her. You met her father? Mm-hmm. You were familiar with her family? Yes. You and she discussed family or on prior occasions? I would ask her how her parents are, or her brother. Following the incident, you allowed her to stay at your house for a few days. Yes. And you called a couple of friends to come over, right? Yes. Including a doctor friend. Is that correct? Yes, it is correct. It's true that the doctor friend of yours talked to her at length, correct? She examined her to make sure that she didn't have a concussion. And you had another friend, a hairstylist, who also arrived, right? Yes. The other course, over the course of a few days, right? The next day or that evening, rather. Do you also call a lawyer friend of yours? Yes. And did that lawyer friend come over? No, 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 no. He lives in San Francisco, but we just called him. I see. So you called and spoke with him? Yes. And did Miss Ventura speak with him? She did. About what had occurred, right? Yes. Thank you. And you provided emotional support for her during this time, right? Of course. If she needed that emotional support, you were there for her. Of course. And if she needed additional emotional support, you would have given that, right? Absolutely. If she needed a ride somewhere, you would have given her a ride. Yes, of course. And if she wanted to go to the hospital, you would have driven, her there. Of course. And if she wanted to call her family, you would have helped call her family. Yes. And if she wanted to call the police, you would have helped her call the police. Exactly. You were there for her in whatever way she needed. Yes, I was. Like you said, you were like a big sister to her. Mm-hmm. And you were concerned, right? Very concerned, of course. And you would have done whatever she needed in that moment. Yes, I would. And you became aware at a certain point that Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs had broken up, right? Later on. But you continued your friendship with her after the breakup, correct? Yes, I did. regardless of when exactly it happened. Yes. In fact, it sounds like you met with her in 2021. Yes, I did. And in the past year, you've done a number of interviews with the press, right? Yes. I think you said a couple, but it was more than a couple, right? Mm-hmm. Was that a yes? Yes. Do you know how many you did? No, I don't. You started with a couple with CNN immediately after in May of 2024, right? I believe so. And then there was also an extended interview with Don Lemon, right? Think so. And you did a couple of interviews with Extra TV, right? Yes. And what else? You appeared on Piers Morgan, right? Yes. And then you appeared in a documentary about Mr. Combs, right? Yes. And then you appeared in another documentary about Mr. Combs, right? Yes. So 8 appearances. Yes. In the past year. Okay. Uh, and other than the thousands of dollars or so for the photographs, were you paid for these appearances? Not at all. No. No. Did Miss Ventura ask you to do these interviews? No, she didn't. Do you recall getting outreach from Dateline to be interviewed more recently? Probably, but I'm not exactly sure because I don't look at those anymore. Do you recall asking the government permission to do additional interviews? No, I don't. Um, Defense. Can we show you? Would something refresh your recollection if I show it to you? Sure. Can we show just the witness 3563-008, please? Only read this to yourself and then look up at me, please. Let me get a little water break, y'all. Okay, here we go. Only read this to yourself and then look up, please. Yes. Dateline counts as the press, right? Mm-hmm. Does this refresh your recollection as to whether or not you were asked by Dateline to do an additional interview? I mean, I just refuse all the interviews, so I don't really pay attention to any of this. Does this document refresh your recollection as to whether or not you asked permission from the prosecutors to do additional interviews? Of course, I would ask. Just ask the question, and that was it. Does it refresh your recollection that you did ask for permission? I did ask. Yes. Thank you. Of course. Okay. I see what you're saying. That's all I'm getting at. Thank you. Until these public interviews, you never spoke about this event with anyone. I have never spoken about them. And you never talked to Miss Ventura about it again? Not ever again. You never spoke to Mr. Combs about it again? Not at all. And no one approached you after the incident to talk to you about this? No one has approached me, no. Mr. Combs never approached you? No. No employees from his company ever approached you? No. Can I have one moment, please? The court grants her the moment. Questioning continues. In connection with one of these documentaries, were you reimbursed for any services in connections with your participation? Therapy. You were reimbursed for therapy services? Yes. How did the documentary reimburse you for therapy services? I believe it was 250. Yeah. And you sold the photos of Miss Porter for about $1,000? Yes. One moment. No further questions. Thank you. Miss Comey on redirect. No, Your Honor. Thank you. Miss Morales, thank you very much. You are excused. Thank you very much. Okay. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's what's the word? Let's rehash this a little bit so that I have a better understanding, okay? And I've never read this before, so this kind of gives me a different perspective, all right? So Mylah Morales, who's the makeup artist, right? She sees this horrible situation that happens with Cassie Ventura. She has Cassie over her for a couple days. Her even after Diddy and Cassie separate, and what seems to be might have ended that relationship, she never they don't talk about this incident. Like, that would have been a question that's unclear to me, because they meet up again in 2021 during COVID time. And do they talk about what happened that Grammy weekend? That's the question that is still very unclear to me, because she says that she has never spoken about this to anybody. But how do you go about this, speaking to this? Like, this is something that happened to somebody you considered your little sister, your friend. Okay. You never spoke to her about it, never repeated it in 2021. Puffy gets arrested, and now you're giving like 8 public interviews about what you saw, but yet you've never spoken to Cassie about what happened to her or what she witnessed. Or I'm so confused by this. I think that's the thing that I have, is like I am really utterly confused by this whole situation. And I don't know if I believe her. I don't. I don't know. I don't think I do. And again, she's just a friend, who happens to see what happened. Thank you, Tinkle Tits. Thank you, remonetization bucks. Thank you, my love. Yeah, it's not. You're absolutely right. Like, I love that you said this, Abraham. It's not an easy conversation to bring up, right? But I'm just having a hard time. Like, this is how I see it. Let me tell you. Puffy gets arrested. I saw Cassie in 2021. I'm sure I have a phone number, an email, or something, and I would probably just message her. Hey, are you okay with me talking about this again? Are you okay can we talk about this? Are you okay if I bring this up to like 8 interviews, 8 media press personalities? So how is it and I would agree with this, but how is it? It's just a question that I have. For the purposes of sustaining that relationship, or at least respectfully of Cassie, why wouldn't you have a conversation with Cassie about all these interviews that you do before running to the press and doing 8 interviews and then selling pictures of Kim Porter? And let me just say this. I know that they might be her pictures too, but I do feel some type of way. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Feels like a really convenient time to care, says Didi. Plus, it's hard to imagine people just randomly bringing this up to the victims years later. But then the audacity to then do 8 interviews. Am I off about this? Because something feels off. No, she hasn't spoken to Cassie. She was asked if she got Cassie approved. That's the question that I have. Did you talk to Cassie about you doing 8 interviews with all these people before you went off and did a bunch of interviews? That's the question, because I personally would have, if that's my friend, somebody that I considered a little sister, I would have been like, look, yo, I'm gonna talk to Pierce Morgan about this hotel incident. How like something is off about this makeup artist, you know? So, and she says she never got money, but she got reimbursed for therapy. She was in the documentary. Okay. So when she went out here and did a whole tour, and I mean it because I even reviewed that whole interview, I said, something's off here. Okay. So then she stopped after she got interviewed with she asked permission if she could be interviewed by Dateline with the prosecutors. That's what I'm saying. It's like, all right, so did you get permission, or did you at least consult with Cassie about speaking publicly on this issue, on this incident that you witnessed, that you did 8 interviews about? That would have been my question, because honestly, like that would have been my question. Now, she says she got reimbursed for therapy. She's currently in therapy for what she saw. Yeah, like it really, it makes me side-eye her, if you know what I mean. It makes me side-eye her. I'm wondering if the jury catches the point Rabbit is making after the testimony. That's what I'm saying. It's like she said it herself. If you, all right, and we can go back up, because I literally felt like, I was like, okay, you didn't talk to her about it? Here, right here. The question was, She makes her reread a script or whatever of what she told the prosecutors. Okay. And then she says, "That's all I'm getting at. Thank you. Until these public interviews, you never spoke about this event to anyone. Never spoke about them to anyone. And you never talked to Miss Ventura about it again? Not ever again. She never talked to Cassie about this. So if she never talked to Cassie, there's no way that she would have gotten Cassie's permission to talk about this publicly 8 times or more. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, girl, you are a fucking opportunist. I'm sorry. Like, I know I'm going hard on her, but to me that just gave me opportunist. What was left to say? But I think for me, it's like, and that's a good point. Like, what would you tell Cassie? I want to go talk to, I don't know. Even if she didn't talk to, so she's still not talking to Cassie anymore. She didn't talk to Cassie about what she saw, but she did 8 interviews. She's never talked to anybody publicly. Girl, you got the courage to talk about it publicly, but with the victim that was being victimized at that moment, you didn't ask her permission? See, that's the problem that I have. It's giving trying to be relevant. I don't know if the government gave her permission, though. Let me see. Let me go back up. This is on Dateline, though, not the other interviews, because what it sounds like is she did the other interviews and then the government caught up to her. And then that's when she had to ask permission. But hold up. Let me see. It says, can you show us just a witness? Only read to yourself and then look up, please. Dateline counts as the press, right? Does this refresh your recollection as to whether or not you were asked by Dateline to do additional interviews? I mean, I just refuse all the interviews, so I don't really pay attention to any of this. Does this document refresh your recollection as to whether or not you asked permission from the prosecutors to do additional interviews? If she's asking to do additional interviews, what that tells me is that she had already done some. Now she's meeting with the government. The government might have told her to slow down, or, you're going to be testifying, that type of deal. So she did a lot more interviews, and now she's asking permission. Something must have happened between the time that she did those interviews to when Dateline came about. Does that make sense? And then she says, of course I would ask. I just asked the question, and that was it. Does it refresh your recollection that you did ask for permission? I did. Yes. Thank you. Of course. Okay. I see what you're saying. That's what I'm getting at. All right. But again, I guess, it is what it is. I'm just saying, like, I just find her to be a little bit like grimy, because it's like, you said that this is your little sister, right? That this is who you felt like was your little sister, but you just saw your sister. You had a doctor friend who, by the way, never was reported. She didn't want to go to the hospital, but the doctor friend doesn't report this to anybody. Okay. You're checking her for concussions. She's refusing to go to the hospital. The shit doesn't get reported. Let me repeat that again. And this is your sister friend. And you've never spoken to anybody about this publicly, not even with her, but you did interviews about what you saw after Diddy's arrest. To me, the right thing, at least the moral thing, would be, let me tell my friend that I'm about to do some interviews and expose Diddy. And whether she agreed to it or not, that's a separate issue. But at least you would have told her, let me tell my friend who I considered a little sister that I'm going to do some interviews and expose him. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I'm getting at. But hey, man, maybe I'm a little different. I don't know. I'm a little different. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, sorry. And that's true. After there isn't left anything to say. I mean, she's making a choice. But I'm speaking in terms of like, what after this? Like, instead of just going about doing this, why not maybe get an understanding of how your friend feels about, or, at least let your friend know that you're planning to do this. Because this is about Cassie, and the situation that she went through. But that's just my thought, or I don't know. Maybe she did talk to her and maybe this is a lie. I'm not really sure, but who knows? But if she was asked for Cassie's permission, couldn't you come across as two people conspiring against Sean? Ooh, that's a good point, Abraham. That's a very good point. That they talked. something to that effect. A lot of opportunists in this industry, so it doesn't really surprise me that she ran to the media. I think it just justifies her 15 minutes because she was helping Cassie. That's my thought. She did make money. She got reimbursed for whatever that amount was. It might have not been much, but she got pictures. She made money. She made money, you know? But that's how I see. That's how I see that. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? I find it interesting that the court, she only said that she was in fear for her life, but we all know that she was likely in fear of being blacklisted in the industry as a makeup artist if she spoke out. Explore this one right here. I think a lot of the people that work in the industry are afraid to be blacklisted. It's opportunities, the work that they do. You know, I would agree with you on that. Can you imagine? She was working for Rihanna for like, I don't know how many years. Don't forget that Rihanna and Diddy were close too. When the situation with Chris Brown happened, who went to Diddy's house? Chris Brown and Rihanna. And they did a little reconciliation there. Diddy talked about this on Ellen. So the thing about Diddy, and let me just say this, like, you know, I got done reading, and it's gonna be uploaded here maybe in about an hour or as soon as I'm done here. Yes, she didn't need her permission. Her story was different from Cassie. She didn't want to be blacklisted, says Michelle. Maybe you got a point there, Michelle. I'm not really sure. That's just my opinion. The thing about Cassie, and this is just an observation that I'm making based on just like the transcripts that I'm reading, y'all. Cassie was very much, it sounds like, based on how she's describing what things were like back then. She sounds to me like a people pleaser, right? Like, and I've been surrounded by a lot of those people pleasers. I have never, you know, I like to make people happy, but I don't necessarily make you happy to the point where it's going to be to the detriment of myself or somebody else, or, you know what I mean? But she gave me the impression that she's a people pleaser, and she kind of went with the flow of things, even to her own health and detriment and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So she kind of gave me that impression, um, even though she didn't want to do certain things, she did them because she was with somebody that she felt like she could be with. In no way, I don't think Diddy ever saw Cassie that way, ever, because I don't know. And it's interesting because I was listening to Mims the other day, and he was talking about how, like, he was surprised too. If you think about George Kaplan and the packing of materials to the plane, I mean, the way in which kind of makes you wonder, when was the last freak off? I hate to put it this way. When was the last freak off that Kim Porter did with Diddy? I kind of wondered that too. Now I have a lot of questions that this was like a thing for this guy, and he was what's the word? Like, he's just a sick person, y'all. Really. Honestly, just a sick person. You said, I'm a recovering people pleaser, and it causes so much trauma that I've got to let it go. Ew. I'm telling you, like, and that's what I got from Cassie, is that she strikes me as a people pleaser. Like I said, maybe I'm not, I don't know, man. So when I see this, it's somebody that will do anything to kind of just be in that moment, and, you know, to the detriment of her health, family, friends, things like that. But yeah, you said, I'm a people pleaser and I'm very in slow recovery. I will have someone if it screws me over. I'm working on it, but saying no is really difficult for me, says King. That's a real thing, y'all. That's a real thing. You said Luigi. Shout out to Luigi. Yeah, they're all people. You know what? I think this is interesting, is that he surrounded himself. Actually, I think this is a pretty accurate statement. The people that Diddy surrounded himself with, um, were they all wanting to make it to the industry, wanting a piece of Diddy? He had this bigger than life personality type of deal. I mean, even George Kaplan at his young 20s, right? He's like, I'm not trying to lose my job. This is my opportunity. This is a Diddy thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, Can't stop, won't stop. What did David James say? We have to read that transcript, by the way. That's another one. You said at 19, you got to think how impressionable and how vulnerable, how green a Diddy pleaser 19. Absolutely, Michelle. I agree with you on that. I don't know. It's like crazy, man. When you think of it, when you remove, all of this, it kind of makes you wonder, well, what all of this was for. And clearly Diddy was a pretty sick man, it sounds like, at least in my opinion. But have they met Rico? That's the question. Have they met Rico? I think they've met some elements for sure. I get the sense, especially after Cassie's specifically, I don't think people understand. For those that think, well, is it Rico? Yeah, you're traveling, you're flying in S workers, traveling to and from, coercing, drugging, all this stuff right here. There's a little bit of a difference between just being a freaky deaky guy versus, the crime, if you know what I mean. I think they do have, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Based on my own personal experience, adult people pleasers tend to be kids that have aces with a oh my God, I can't say this, CPTSD, are unaware of doing such until the cycle needs broken. Ooh. Thank you, Kraken. You've been a member for 16 months. Oh my God, Kraken. Thank you for supporting my channel. You're amazing, Kraken. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was complex PTSD. Thank you. Thank you. I agree. You said, I think they will. And there's a deeper reason that the computer guy was on the stand. Oh, yes. And we got those transcripts too, y'all. I'm a one-person show, so it takes me a minute to kind of get there. But I'm going to tell you, I was a little paranoid working on the Cassie one that I just did, that I'm going to drop here in a little bit. So make sure you guys are there for the live chat. It's a pre-recorded video. It took me a long time to edit that, literally. Yes, they've met Rico, and now they're going to finish building the Rico. I think they met. That's just my opinion. That's not like, but I'm reading to you guys the transcripts. I think that they've met Rico for sure. We still have the defense. You never know. You just never know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. Maybe the defense will come out here. We still have to do the defense's witnesses. I mean, I'm so ready for tomorrow to figure out what is it going to look like. You think tomorrow's going to solidify Rico? Hoo-wee, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. Now, I want to show you guys something because I did save this, guys. I have to show you guys something. So at least we got done with Mylah. I keep calling her Rodriguez when it's Morales. Hold up, y'all. Like making up names for this lady. There was something that I wanted to show you. Okay, so you guys know Albie Shore. Guys, I have so many I'm just behind the news, but there's so many markers that I have. I got to show you guys something though. You guys know Albie Shore. Albie Shore is getting dragged on the internet, okay? Let me tell you why he's getting dragged on the internet. Let's see. So, LaWanda Lala Lane isn't letting anyone rewrite the legacy of her best friend Kim Porter, especially not Albie Shore. Kim Porter's best friend shuts down Albie Shore claims you weren't there. We were. Here we go.
All of us together.
Albie Shore, right before the trial started, did an interview where he pointed the finger pretty clearly at Diddy, claiming that he had something to do with Kim's death. And I know that's got to be upsetting. As you said, the girls got through that.
Let me be very clear on Kim's passing. That nobody but her closest friends and our children were there. To speak so recklessly on stuff that you know nothing about. You saw that woman 2 months before for an hour. You were not friends. You did not have a discussion, is wrong. Is wrong to her children, wrong to her family. Her father is still alive. Is wrong to us, her friends who have been there and were there. And we did, all of us together.
Albie Shore, right before the trial started, did an interview where he pointed the finger.
You know, I see this, Kraken, I see this argument twofold, okay? I see this twofold. I could see the part where Diddy was so controlling and, he didn't want him to be in proximity with Kim and being in proximity, because they had a kid together. So he's like, I'm going to take this over, right? But I also see the other side of that. I'd be damned if you and I have a kid together and you think for a minute that somehow, I don't care if you're Diddy, doo-wop, whatever the hell you are, whoever, that you're going to take over that father figure role. That you're going to be the only thing that this kid identifies as a father. Oh, no. Oh, no. Mm-mm. I'd be damned. Now, I know he claims that he went through some medical stuff because of Diddy. Maybe Diddy put him there. Maybe it got to that point. Maybe. I'm not really sure. But at this point, Albie Shore has only, I'm at this point with Albie Shore that, let me give it to you this way. Put up or shut up. Like, I'm at this point where I'm like, y'all, my patience is very thin because it's kind of like, he has said so much and then doesn't really say a whole lot at the same time. And we're kind of left here, we're like, what the fuck happened? Now, nobody wants to disparage his name or her name or anybody. But at the same time, it's like, what happened? What led you to this point? Tell your story already. He's going to write another book. And if he writes another book, is it going to be a whole bunch of nothing or is it going to say something? Because I'm tired of it, y'all. I am. We are at the criminal aspect of this. This is where we're at. He said he got subpoenaed. First of all, I always was under the impression if you got subpoenaed, you're not even supposed to be talking about that in a public forum. So I have a lot of questions, and that's why I'm like, I would agree. I could see this side where, what's the word? I can see the side where the man is really scared and he can't step up. And, Kim has put him on the side. Kim's not here to speak for herself. So this is why it bothers me that I can't even really say anything. Kim put him on the side so he couldn't really be a father. So Diddy had to step in there. No. Okay, fine. He's really scared. He was threatened. Okay, all right. But this is a child we're talking about. There's no way. Fucking take them to court. What's going to happen? I need to see my son. I need to raise my son. I need to be around my son. That's what I need to do. I need to do photo shoots with my son. There needs to be more pictures of me and my son than Diddy with Quincy. That's the problem that I have. That I'm like, listen, something's not right about that. But that's just my opinion. And I could be very wrong. I don't know. Something's off. But it could just be me. It could just be me, and I will own that because I do, yes, blackmail will keep, you are absolutely right. So what exactly is that? That's what I'm saying. This is the time. Put up or shut up. Let's figure this out. What does he do? He's writing a book. Really? He said he was testifying at the Diddy trial. All right, we'll see. It's twofold, right? It's twofold. But I had heard through the grapevine. I'm going to tell you guys something that I heard, okay? And I could be wrong about this. I heard that he wasn't a very present father. I heard that he was a D-E-A-D dad, okay? D-E-A-D-B-E-A-T dad. That's what I heard from other people too. And the more and more you look into it, you kind of have to wonder, well, what? Really? I could be wrong. Maybe I'm going harsh, but it's just time. It's time. Put up or shut up. That's kind of where we're at. This man is fighting for his life. This man is fighting for his life. And it's not looking very good for Diddy right now. What a great opportunity for him to finally say what it is. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But that's just my opinion. That is my opinion. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Thank you. Thank you, Luigi. Thank you. Please remind the people. I appreciate it. That's just my opinion, though. I just something don't make sense about this whole situation. And I'm not really buying it, but that's what I'm gonna say about that. All right, guys, I gotta go because I gotta go and do some other stuff. I gotta do some more recordings. I don't know if I'll be live tonight. If what we're reading, well, we still have to read The Punisher, the freezer meat guy. What else? We have to read. Y'all, sorry, look at Baby Bunny got into it and Coffee got into my notebook. Okay, The Punisher. My little check mark. Mylah Morales is done. Wow, we actually did a couple just this weekend, so I feel pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 done. 5 done. We have Carrie Morgan too. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do Carrie Morgan or The Punisher tonight to get that done. Cassie part 2 is going to be dropped today. So there's that. And and then Don Hughes, we need to finish up as well. So yeah. Y'all let me know what you guys think. Of course, my opinion is just my opinion. You guys can believe whatever you want. And do me a favor, hit the like button, please. And thank you. I will see you guys later on. Bye. Bye, guys. Bye, 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 bye. See you guys later. Oh, and shout out to everybody that supported today. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. The only Angie, Kelly, Luigi. Thank you, Craig. And y'all are amazing. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys. Bye, bye, bye.